Hi, my name is Byron and this is my YouTube page. I appreciate you listening. Now, this is one of the many aspects of what I'm calling my campaign for liberty. The campaign for liberty is a campaign which which I'm building and have been building for some time to begin to put together um, conservative policies that have been well thought out and that will restore our um, our country back to the right on the right path. Now, what my vision for it is that it will bring conservatives together and begin a conversation that needs to take place among conservatives, among Republicans, on a general level, and that is, where are we going to stand? Where is the line? And in my campaign for liberty, I draw the line. And that line is the Constitution. That line is the basis of that line is the rights that the founders stated were given to us by God. That is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That have and we all have equality of opportunity, but not equality of outcome. We are all not going to get to the same place as somebody else. There are going to be people that are more successful than other people, but that's okay. We all strive to do the best that we can, but we need an environment. We need a country that will allow us to strive to do the best we can. Right now, we are under a government, both Republican and Democrat. It's the only thing. It's the only thing that we have done bipartisan, and that is spend ourselves into an oblivion and grow our government to an absurd size. That we have on that issue we have mastered bipartisanship. But what I want to do is say, let's focus on our core principles that have made this country great for the last 200 plus years. Let's focus on those and let's begin building the America that we all know is here. Under a conservative policy, we can have morning in America, as Reagan in his second term said, we can have morning in America again. We can restore that. And that's part of what my campaign for liberty is for. Now, I want to talk about some broad skeletal points of the campaign for liberty. And as we continue through 2012, we will flesh out what these points mean. The first point that I want to state is the resetting of America's path. The resetting of America's path. Now, what does that mean? That means going back to our principles, going back to our Constitution, and restructuring our government and our thinking in alignment with the Constitution, and begin picking those points that are going to guide both how we run government and how we make legislation. And those two, we fix those two, and everything else will fall in line. Now, the second point is restoring fiscal responsibility. We need, as much as we need the Constitution to be the focal point of what our Congress does, we need the budget to be the focal point of what our Congress considers when they bring legislation to the floor. In everyday life, for most Americans, when we make a financial decision, we have to check our budget. We have to look at what we can afford and what we can't afford. This same budgetary principle applies to our Congress, but they refuse to see that it is the same thing. and they refuse to take responsibility for the mess that we have gotten ourselves into. So we need not only the Constitution to be the focus, we need our budget to be the focus when proposing legislation. That's restoring fiscal responsibility, redoing the budgetary process, revamping all of that. And we'll look at what all that means. The third thing that we need to do is return certain rights to the states. Since FDR, the progressive movement has become more and more aggressive and more bold in their strategies. Now, how is that? Because bit by bit, inch by inch, they begin to take over little liberties that we have here, little liberties that we have here. Before we know it, our independence is gone. And I'm here to tell you, America, that we are in a state of the frog in the boiling pot. The heat from the progressive movement gets turned up little by little. And the progressive movement thinks that you and me and most of the American public are too stupid to understand. Well, the news is that we're not. We're not too stupid to understand. And that the way to counteract all of this is to restore the enumerated powers that are given in our Constitution to our federal government, and the rest ship it off to the states. Let the states make their own decisions. The next item is restoring liberty and independence. This is more about creating a culture of discipline, creating a culture in which men and women are free to choose the road that they want to travel down, where they don't have to follow a governmental road, i.e. Obamacare. They can make their own health choices. They can make their own life choices. And that the government has no room in the individual's life, governing what choices they can make and what choices they cannot make. If it does not violate life, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness, and it does not harm anybody else, that's the kind of the life aspect. If it doesn't harm anybody else, then the government doesn't belong there. And that's important. That's how we maintain life. That's how we maintain liberty and independence. The next is restoring limited government. Let's begin shrinking the government, and we'll talk about that. That's a big topic, and is going to require a lot of conversation, a lot of ideas, and we'll get into that. The next is reform government. Now that when we've shrunk it to its rightful size, now we focus on getting government to do those few things well and efficiently. And we'll talk about that one. So at the beginning of the video, I told you that my short-term goal for my campaign for liberty is gathering conservatives to hold a Republican government if all shakes out well. A Republican government in line and get us back on the right path. The long term is me putting together my campaign for considering to run for Congress, laying the groundwork as I consider running. That is my dream. That is my goal. That is what I work for. That's my pursuit of happiness. And I live in a country that's great enough that would allow someone like me to pursue that. That's what I mean by liberty and independence. So as I work and as you work, let's work together and let's move this country forward. I want to go ahead and give you some critical information that will help you work with me and me with you. My email address is going to be bguillory@gmail.com. Here you can email me with your ideas as we go through each domestic issue, each foreign policy issue, and we begin developing a core conservative platform. And you can help me with this. You can also go to my Facebook page. You can you can Facebook Byron Guillory, or you can go at the Facebook address /bguillory83, and there you'll find my Morning in America. The other thing that you can do is that there will be a spot on my Morning in America page. There will be a spot coming up in which I will have podcasts. You can also listen or call in to my podcasts. Those should start in February. These are all elements that I'm bringing together as part of my campaign for liberty. And we together will restore America to a brighter and better future for our kids, for our nephews, for the next generation. But the fight starts now. Conservatives, we must hold the line. You must stay with me as we charge a progressive and ever-growing government. Hold the line, America. Hold the line. Thank you very much.